Hey, what's up, everybody, to the Be the Torch podcast. Are you somebody who is struggling in some area of your life? Maybe your relationship is on the rocks. Maybe your business is not where you want it to be. Maybe you feel chained to it, stuck. Maybe you're feeling some sort of health issues going on. Or maybe you feel some sort of disconnection from purpose, meaning, life, maybe in parenting. There's so much. None of us are perfect. So if that's you, or maybe you're struggling in some other area, welcome to the real world and being human. We all have one or all of those things going on at any given time. And it would be nice if they all were like cool at the moment. For most people, that isn't quite the case. I want to be in a position where they're all kind of growing and expanding at the same time, but variably at their different levels. If that's you, I have a really, really good process to take you through here today. And this is something, man, I wish I had understood this, I don't know, 50 years ago. It would have been nice to have been exposed to the idea that life is a mirror. And I this is something now that it's completely in the fabric of all of my coaching, all my training, all of my talks, my keynote speeches, my trainings, everything from leadership to working with entrepreneurs and building up their life. It's all woven into it because it's just it's all there. It's what primarily most of us are not seeing. And I want to help guide you through that here in just a short amount of time that we have together on this solo cast. You and I. What am I talking about here? Well, most people and most men oftentimes blame outside events, situations, people, situations as for the reason why they are unhappy, why they are frustrated, angry, why they're not don't have as much money, why they're not having enough sex, why they're not being listened to, why they're blaming things outside of themselves. It's my kids, it's their issue, they're teenagers. It's my wife as to why we are not communicating well, why we're not having sex, because she doesn't want it, or it's because of my employees. They just aren't listening or not good enough. It's victim, victim, victim all over the place. We are victimizing ourselves and just putting ourselves in this victim energy that, man, is literally holding us back. Now, there's some blind spots. And this is what, in my work, what I feel like I'm best at is seeing those blind spots. Because I believe that, you really you don't know what you don't know. And to hold you responsible for something you're not even aware of, I think is short-sighted. So that gives you a little bit of grace and hopefully some ease knowing that you're not perfect, man. However, once I help you and expose you to these blind spots, now radical responsibility's got to flood in. So the challenge is we're blaming things outside of us when in fact our results in all areas of life are simply a mirror. They are mirroring back the thoughts, the beliefs, the actions, the energy that we have and we're carrying, the frequency that we give off. They're just reflecting back to it. And I'm going to give you several examples because this may be new to you and you may not understand it. But again, once I open your eyes to it, it's time to jump in and get this figured out. Because the results that we get are feedback. And I'm going to, you know me, I love my sports analogy. So I'm going to use the sports as an example. The scoreboard in sports does not, yes, we have it as a functionality to determine we need a winner out of a game, out of a match, out of a race, et cetera, because we need to know, standings and working towards a championship and all those type of things. That's the primary function of the scoreboard. The overarching more in-depth purpose behind the scoreboard is its feedback. That's all it is. The scoreboard is simply feedback as to how we're doing. It's not a reflection of who we are, of what good we are or not good we are, or it's just feedback. That's all it is. And the challenge is, so many of us put our self-worth and our identity up on the scoreboard. And then when it doesn't go our way, well, then we are we're upset, we're unhappy. And when it's simply, it's just feedback. So number one, we got to detach from that scoreboard. So if you're feeling stuck in your business, if your relationship's flat, if you cannot find a new relationship, maybe like me, you've been divorced, you're out looking for somebody new, and you keep attracting the same old person, the same toxic relationship, lipstick on a pig. You know what I mean? It's the same person with a different face, the same scenario, same situation, the same conversations. Brother, that's a pattern. It's not, well, that's women these days, or it's just the economy. Man, that's victim mindset. And the challenge behind is a victim energy and victim mindset that keeps you weak. That weakens you. So it's not women these days, or it's not your wife or the economy or your employees. It's you, dude. Yes, it is you. You're the reason why your business is stagnant. You're the reason why your relationship is stale, why you're not having sex, why you can't find someone that is your soulmate, that just can meet you at a level of peace and groundedness and ease and intimacy and sexuality. Like it's you, dude. So the good news is we can work on that. You know the guy. It's you. And really, it's a mirror. So that's why I'm saying everything, our results that we have out there are simply a mirror back into ourselves. So the challenge is most men are afraid to look into the mirror. Most men are afraid to look into the mirror for fear of what they're going to see, for fear of seeing the truth in that it is you. And you got to do some work on you, because you don't want to do work. You want everyone else to get fixed. You want her to figure it out so you'll have more sex. You want your employees to figure it out so they'll actually start performing at the level you want them to. And you want your kids to get right, and so that they'll finally listen to you and follow your directions and do what you want them to do. Look, man, it's a pretty radical yet very simple idea to simply look inward and look at the mirror and tell the freaking truth. So I'll give you an example. My marriage ended and I was so embarrassed. I was so guilty. I was so angry. I was ashamed. I mean, you name it, man. Talk about low frequency. All of those things, shame and guilt primarily, are the lowest levels of frequency in the human experience. And I was vibrating at that level. And so I was attracting people and opportunities and things that were vibrating at a similar level. Like attracts like. And I didn't even know I should look in the mirror. I just thought, well, I'm angry, I'm pissed off, she hurt me, and it's her fault, or it's their fault, or it's the situation's fault, or it's the fact that I wasn't making enough money, and I layer on the guilt in order to keep that relationship. I was blaming other. I was just in victim role, man. Same thing when businesses didn't work out. Marketing efforts I went all in on that didn't work out. And it was always something else, somebody else. And it requires a shift. So I'm going to take you through is really three key steps to help you recognize that it's important to look in the mirror, how to go through this process so you come out on the other end with the ability to predict the future. Hold on. Bear with me here for a second. Yes. By going through this process, you're actually going to be able to somewhat see the future and be prepared for what's coming. So step number one is we've got to be able to shift that mindset. You're no longer a victim. So let's scratch that. The scoreboard is simply feedback. If your relationship didn't work out, there's feedback there, brother. And you have to learn the lesson in there. The relationship and the partner you were with are a teacher. What did you learn from it? If you're not heeding those lessons, dude, you're going to keep being served the same lesson over and over again until you learn it. So you're going to get into a relationship again where there's arguing, there's fighting, or there's cheating, or there's whatever, chaos. or it may not be as chaotic, but it's still not right. And yet you don't have the courage to look in the mirror and say, something's not right there. So you're like, hey, at least it's not that super chaotic relationship I had. It's not the greatest, but I'll deal with it. Man, please, no more. No more doing that. It's standing up for you. You deserve to be coming from a place of power, to be aligned, to be energized, fulfilled, on purpose. And you know what? So does a person you're in a relationship with. She deserves you to be that man, that leader. So you have to go inward and stop playing the blame game. Okay. That's shift number one. Number two is reflecting. So now you're looking in the mirror, and it's not just staring in the mirror and going, okay, yeah, I see this guy. And it's actually doing the work of answering the hard questions. What is it about me in relationships that keep causing them to be toxic? What is it about my employees that they don't listen, they don't follow directions, they're not executing the way they should, or they're not invested in the company like I am? They should be, and even though you're the business owner. So we want to ask those hard questions. So really, if you want to make a shift, it's not looking outside yourself, nor is it getting angry at what you see in the mirror. And that's where most dudes struggle. As I mentioned, they're afraid of what they're going to see, or when they do see it, they get pissed off at the mirror, and then they start blaming. That's because of my childhood, or because of my parents, or because of the society. And I can tell you what, most likely your childhood and society have created the patterns and the habits that you have now, which may not be the best. Doesn't mean your parents are bad. Doesn't mean society wronged you. Look, I get it. You aren't responsible for a lot of those things until you see it, until you look at that mirror and you see it. And now it's on you. Now we've shown you the blind spots. My role here is not to help you fix it. My role here is to help expose you to it, those blind spots, and then for you to step into it, to be real and raw with yourself and sit with it, to get clear on where you need to get better. So, this really is about, especially as men, is developing standards for ourselves, higher standards, raising our frequency out of that shame and guilt and anger, resentment, victim mentality, raising that level up to a level where we start to have self-love. We are empathetic and have grace, number one, for ourselves, and then for others who may have a particular trauma and they're triggered. So, for me, the greatest way for you to know where the mirror needs to come into play is where you are triggered. So think about in the areas of your life where you triggered. Do your kids trigger you? Does your partner trigger you? Does going on dates with women trigger you? Does your business or your employees, do they trigger you? Meaning, do you get pissed off? Are you angry? You're frustrated? You're sad? There's something there that's triggering you. And most people, and we're talking men here, most men, when they get triggered, they get defensive. They will get angry. They'll start playing the blame game. And oftentimes they will avoid hard conversations, avoid situations. They become avoidant, or they get super angry and verbally and emotionally abusive on some level. And man, that doesn't serve anybody, especially you. You don't want to vibrate and hang in that frequency and that energy. You don't want to live like that. I know you don't. And yet you get triggered by it. And if you weren't aware that you were being triggered, now you do. And now it's the awareness is the first step. Now it's the key is to address it, because really your ego is in there, it's trying to keep you safe because someone wronged you. Someone said something to you that you didn't like. And the ego is like, hold on, we don't play like that. We need to push back. We can't look weak. We can't look like we're insecure or incompetent or living from a scarcity mentality. We can't look like that. So we gotta bark louder. We gotta name, blame. We gotta shame people. We gotta call names. We gotta do those types of things in order to prop ourselves up. That's all it is. When someone responds like that, they're simply trying to prop themselves up to make someone else look smaller and weaker than them. So now they got the power back. That is the ultimate weakness move. That's a weak move. That's not power. So this is twofold. Number one, you can recognize when you experience yourself wanting to get defensive, wanting to blame others, wanting to call them names, getting pissed off. And on the flip side, when you see someone else behaving in that fashion, you can recognize that, oh man, they got some trauma going on. There's something going on for them, and not take it personal. This was a big one for me because if you've ever been in a co-parenting relationship, look, I'm so grateful. I have 2 women I'm able to co-parent with, and I'm very grateful for my relationship with them. It's not always unicorns and rainbows. There's challenges in those types of relationships, especially when there's a lot of hurt and pain and shame, like I lived in for a long time and wanted to take it out on her. I still wanted her to hurt for the way that she hurt me. And that's a weak move. I was not playing from a place of power. And what's true for me, I just was reacting from where I was at, getting triggered. And so those triggers were running my life. And once I recognized that, hold on, I'm being triggered by them, and it's not me, or I'm sorry, in that scenario, that is me because I'm getting triggered by it, and I got to reflect on what's going on for me. And then when I would see her get triggered, I had to realize that that's her thing. It's not me. So she got triggered by an email that I sent or something that I did with the kids. I didn't have to push back anymore. I didn't have to fight because I knew the truth. I looked in the mirror. I got really tight and connected with who that guy was from a place of truth and authenticity, getting real and raw with that guy. And then that way, I was clear. What was she or anyone going to say about me that, man, I haven't already said about myself? I haven't already shared, hey, this is who I am. And anything you have to say about me, oh well. And yes, as it rolls off my tongue, it may sound easy, and I recognize that it can be a difficult situation, but it is easy. And you don't have to be perfect. I still have my ebbs and flows, but I'm able to catch myself. I'm aware. I'm feeling some triggering coming up. Oh, same thing in business. I have done, guys, from 2017, I've done various different marketing efforts, running ads, doing content creation, podcasts, these types of things. And it just fell on deaf ears. There's crickets. And it was, oh man, it's because it's Facebook. They don't like my market. Oh, there's not the people I don't work with that I want to work with. They're not on Instagram. I use that one lately. It's like, go easy on myself. I found at times I get frustrated. It's got to be someone else's fault, but it's me. It's just the scoreboard. It's like giving me feedback. I want you to think of it like you're a doctor, right? Someone comes to you with an ailment, and it's not like you go, oh, okay, you got this ailment, and yep, you're going to die. Or, yep, I can save you, no problem. It's like, look, let me understand it a little bit more. Why don't you come have an appointment with me? Let's diagnose it a little bit. Let's get into doing some x-rays or some scans or whatever. Just kind of see some symptoms about what's going on. And then we can analyze that and make some adjustments. And act, analyze, adjust, or is the framework by which we go about this. So, I want you to recognize that giving yourself some ease and grace, because I'm sure maybe you've made some bad hires and you're angry because you couldn't believe how this person slip by your test to get in, to be hired, and those things happen. So we don't want to blame them. It's on you. All right, I hired My hiring process attracted bad hires. Where was my energy when I was making that hire? And so, for example, what was my relationship like going through? Or what was my dating scenario? What was my situation with my kids going on while I was hiring those employees? That might be some clues as to why you got that person in the door and how you all attracted one another. So we want to be able to analyze that and reflect and make sure the next time you're hiring, you're coming from a different frequency, a different belief and understanding of who you are, so you can attract that type person, because you can sniff it out. This is where we can predict the future. We can see the future. Because when an event happens in the future, if you're coming from a place of power, meaning knowingness of who you are and being okay with that, then when a challenge happens, such as relationship, a challenging situation in your relationship, miscommunication, what have you, you know that it's not going to be this blow up chaos situation because you're coming from a place of power. You can't control her. I'm not talking about what happens, what she does. I'm talking about you. You know you're going to come solid. You know you're going to come from a place of power, knowing the truth about who you are. And if indeed it was something that you did that harmed her, that you know you can own that, you can take responsibility, and you can heal it. Or that bad hire that you made, or the bad customer that you attracted, that scenario comes up, you can step back and go, all right, the situation is feedback. What am I feeling right now? How can I address this from a place of power? And so I'm telling you, you can see what's going to happen in the future, because disruption, chaos, is simply a reflection of what's going on inside. It's just a mirror, because when chaos happens, how you respond is a reflection of you. So whether it's AI is taken over and how you respond to that, it's a reflection of you. If you come from a place of knowingness and truth, you're going to be able to get through any and all challenges that come your way. So we have to look in the mirror. We have to tell the truth when we look in the mirror. And then that way we can come from a predictable, solid, powerful place with a set of standards that us as men can live by, a code that you live by. And you know that how people respond is on them, but you honor and respect yourself, so that if someone does respond in a way that isn't aligned with you, that you don't like, or isn't work for you, that you can be strong enough to say, that's not for me. That doesn't work for me. And if we can't make it work, then we just choose not to engage. Win-win, no deal. Old Stephen Covey idea. So really my takeaways here is looking in the mirror. And I actually have a whole process called the fire mirror. Is facing the fire and owning it. Looking at your body right now. What type of shape are you in? You overweight? High blood pressure? You on pills? Dude, that's a reflection. That's your body reflecting back to you what's going on. Maybe the prison that you're living in your mind. Yes, mental prisons, the stress and the worry and the victim mindset, that has an impact on your body. Yes, it does. So if your body's not right, good chance that it's time to look in the mirror. And I don't mean like, yes, it's time to look in the mirror and go, hey, I'm looking out of shape. I should probably start working out again. Yes, as well, but also how you feel about yourself. What type of insecurities are you feeling? What type of scarcity are you operating from? And so once you get clarity on that, guys, it opens up the opportunity for you to step into a new version of you. So writing those down, your body, your business, your relationships, your connection to a higher power. What is the feedback you're getting on the scoreboard in these areas of life? It's time to look in the mirror. If you're someone that does overreact, someone does get angry, does get triggered, brother, it's time to look in the mirror and stop playing the blame game, playing the victimhood. So if you know who you are, you know what your standards are, you know the truth about who you are, and owning it to the point at which you're at right now, where we're going to continue to uncover layers that maybe blind spots you currently aren't seeing. So giving yourself some grace, you are who you are at this point, then you'll know who the man is that's going to show up in a challenge, who the man that is going to show up when there's chaos in your life. It's much different than when your 11-year-old child, your 12-year-old kid, or your 5-year-old child, whatever, does something that you don't like. Maybe they make a mistake. They're a kid. They're learning. They're trying on new things. They're learning how to test. They're trying on how to test boundaries of yours. How do you show up in that situation? You get pissed off? You fly off the handle? How dare they? Or you can know that, hey, when my kid makes a mistake, pretty good sense of who's going to show up in that moment. Because I know me, I'm going to come from a place of power. Doesn't mean you have to agree with it. Doesn't mean you have to like it. Doesn't mean there's not consequences for the child, age specific. But at least you know who you're coming from. And they know who's going to show up. They know dad's coming from a place of power. They can feel that. They can feel your energy. They can feel your power. They can feel your concern, your worry. But most importantly, they can feel that he's got my back, even among my mistakes and the challenges that I'm presenting, that he's there, he's solid. He's not going to run. He's not going to avoid. He's not going to get angry, demean my self-worth. So if you're ready to be that man, if you're ready to stop the blame game and really start to look inward in that mirror, guys, this is a process. And especially with men, they will do things like, okay, cool, I'll look in the mirror, and they go, oh, I don't want to look there. I don't want to look there again. Or they look at it and they won't get to the truth. They're going to tell the mirror what they think is they're seeing. They're not going to sit with it and go inward with it. That's the real work right there, man. Far too often, we hide behind our degrees, our achievements, and our accomplishments. And we think that, oh, we've got those things, we're good. I can tell you how many times I'm coming across men who've made it. They made the money. They feel empty. Their relationships are a wreck. And they're wondering what's wrong. I did all these things. I got the money. Look at this. I got the car. And yet they won't go that next level, deep with the mirror, with themselves, to get to the truth about what's really going on and how that can enhance their life in all areas. So if that's you guys, by all means, we want you to be part of this community. However, whatever entry point you want to get into this community, you want us to keep hanging out on these free videos and the podcast, by all means, love it. Just give me some feedback. Let me know how we're doing. Would love you to subscribe and continue to stay in touch with us. If you're ready to go to the next level and be part of a community of other people going through the same stuff you are, they may be a couple steps ahead. They may be a couple steps behind. By all means, we'd love to get you to be part of this and to be able to support you. If that's you, man, just leave a comment here. Let me know. Yeah, I'm in. And I'd be happy to send you to some more insight, some more information. You can also go to cletuscoffey.com/book a call. Let's just jump on a call. Man, no pressure. Let's just connect. I got some ideas and some strategies. I have a 3-step plan that kind of most people come in and they look for to really accelerate their business, relationships, their health, and so that they can become the man capable of leading from a place of power. So by all means, guys, jump on a call or let me know you're in and we can communicate. Just hit on Instagram. I'm at Cletus Coffey. Just shoot me a DM. Let me know you're in. I can share more resources with you. And then that way we can get you set up. So, all right, guys, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for listening, and go look in that mirror.